every single person has some kind of knowledge, experience, skills that other people are going to find valuable. What you need to do is you need to just sit down one day and just list out the 10 things that you think you're good at, the 10 things that you know like the back of your hand, and figure out, can I use that knowledge and monetize it and turn it into a business?
All right, you all, welcome back. Today on The Necessary Entrepreneur, we're talking with Justin Allan Montgomery. He sounds like a country music star. He's a former nurse practitioner who reimagined his career by building an 8-figure online education business. Now he's helping other professionals, doctors, lawyers, engineers, and therapists turn their expertise into scalable online course businesses. Justin, welcome to the show.
Appreciate it, Mark. Thank you.
Yeah, man, you got to live up to that intro.
I think I will.
So you spent 10 years, it was a fun conversation for 10 minutes before we started, but you spent 10 years in the ER as a nurse practitioner. We just talked about you climbing mountains and climbing Mount Rainier and looking over and looking down. What have I done to myself? The most outdoorsy thing I've ever done is drive to the top of Pikes Peak out in your area, right? You laugh. You're like, man, how about you do some hiking and climbing? But you've done, you've been in a lot of states, a lot of traveling, a lot of experiences. You lived in New Mexico. You obviously were successful professionally as a nurse practitioner. When you look back, we're going to talk about your business and helping other people start this online education platforms for themselves. When you look back on when you jumped all in to this world of entrepreneurship and starting this business, would you do it again? And don't think about just yes. But when I say, would you do it again, think about contextually the reason why you would. And then would you do it again? Would you have done it sooner? And was the life experience that led you up to that point, was it extremely beneficial that prepared you for that moment? And so if you say no to it, then we eliminate all the other questioning.
No, I mean, I absolutely would have done it. I mean, I would have done it a lot sooner, to be honest with you. I mean, I remember I had a light bulb moment, an epiphany one day in the ER. I was working and I was looking around and I saw these 55-year-old doctors and nurses and these older people in the ER, and they just look so miserable. And I would have been like 30, I don't know, mid 30s at the time. And I remember just looking around being like, I don't want to end up like these people. And I've been a nurse practitioner now for 5 years, whatever it was. And I've already hit the ceiling in my career, basically. Like, this is it for me. Like, there's nothing else. Like, this is basically it. Sure, I make, $150,000 a year or whatever it was. But there's not really a whole lot more room for growth here unless I continue to work, unless I pick up extra shifts and that kind of a thing. So, I wish I would have done it much earlier. I think I would have been able to be a lot more successful than I am currently. And I think I would have probably ended up being a happier person because, working just made me miserable. So yeah.
So why didn't you do it sooner?
Fear, man. I was just scared. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't feel confident enough in my abilities to start a business. I thought, I put this business on a pedestal, and I thought it was just this unattainable thing for someone like myself. And, it was just fear. It was fear. It was doing something unknown. And, looking back on it, it's just, I wish I could go back to younger Justin, slap him across the face and be like, dude, what are you scared of? There's nothing to be scared of here.
There's not, right? I mean, there's moments of this that are scary, but there's nothing that you should be scared of that's going to stop you from taking action and leaping.
No, 100%. Yeah. I mean, of course, there's always going to be some fears, right? I mean, God, what if the business fails, or, what if I do something illegal, or, stuff like that. But overall, what are you scared of? I mean, the worst case scenario is the business fails. And, if you follow my philosophy with business, you should only be out $10,000 or $20,000. It's not the end of the world.
So then what finally caused you to change and make the jump? What was so painful? Because people only change when there's so much pain. What became so painful that you say, I'm starting this thing. I'm becoming an entrepreneur. I'm starting the business.
Two things. I think number one was that the place that I was working at capped my production bonus. So they capped my production bonus. Like I couldn't make more than this cap that they placed on it. So halfway through the year, I've already hit the cap and I'm like, I'm working for free basically at this point. Like this is, this is nonsense. And so that was really what sparked it underneath me. Like I got to figure out a way to make my own money. And then number two was I got divorced and I was like, half my income just, disappeared now. I mean, we both were making the same amount of money. There was no alimony or, I didn't have to pay her anything. It was just a mutual decision sort of a thing. But $150,000 a year just went out the window. And so now I'm stuck making $150,000 a year myself. And I was like, I need to make up that deficit because I like the lifestyle that we had. And that was the kick in the ass that I needed.
So how long did it take you from that happening in those moments to when you built back up to equal that lifestyle again? From the moment I'm going to start the business to being able to live
I would estimate probably year and a half. Didn't take that long.
That's quick.
Yeah.
Why do you think it was so quick?
I provided a service that people needed and that people were scared of to provide. My first business was a medical cannabis clinic. Like I issued out cannabis cards to people. Like that was kind of like my first business. And it was just pure profit, basically. Like, it was a 90% margin or something, ridiculous like that. So I was able to make it up fairly quickly. And then I used that money, to invest back into other businesses. I didn't pay myself much money out of my medical cannabis clinic. I just basically rolled that money over into other businesses. And so then I started a men's health clinic. And then within about a year of opening that up, I was probably generating about $10,000 a month in profit after, about the first year or so. So like I said, it took me about a year, between 1 to 2 years to kind of get that money back.
So then why start this business to allow other people to? So you can say, some people are hesitant to say, well, I just want to be massively wealthy and be rich. When I hear people say it, I'm like, yeah, you're going to realize there's more purpose in something like, but I love people to admit that sometimes, right? Because most people are like, oh, that's not the right thing to say. But then others will say, because I found purpose, because I want to help change other people's lives. I'm just making sure that if you do making a lot of money, that you don't not say that, because you're not a guy who's scared to say the wrong thing.
No, I was 100% money motivated, dude. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, was issuing medical cannabis cards something that I was passionate about? Not really.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was, it's bottom of the barrel kind of medicine. So I purely did it for making money. But what happened was that when I eventually started the business that made me a millionaire, I did do it for a selfish reason for money, but after about 6 months of being in that, I did become passionate about it. So I grew into that.
So where's that passion out? Where's it at now? What did it grow into? What sort of passion?
Yeah. So it made me discover that I've always been a teacher at heart. Always have. I can even remember being back in, elementary school and helping other kids, and being in high school and college and tutoring people and helping motivate people to, do better and that sort of stuff. So I've always been a motivational teacher, so to speak. And me starting the business called the Elite Nurse Practitioner, where I taught people how to start medical practices, it brought that back. It was something that was missing in my life. I didn't, for 10 years as a nurse practitioner, I barely did any of that. I mean, I would mentor students and stuff like that and teach nurses and doctors various things that I might have known that they didn't know, but that wasn't really my big job essentially. And so when I started the Elite Nurse Practitioner, it brought that back, that passion that I used to have, and it reignited it. And so now that's what I'm focused on, is like, I like mentoring and teaching people the things that I know to help improve their lives. Like, that's what I'm passionate about now. It's kind of my purpose in life.
Have you seen this stuff from you being a nurse practitioner in the medical field? Does the same way to build those businesses you've built, does it transfer to these other professional types of businesses?
Well, absolutely. I mean, I think the process is generally the same, right? I mean, you deliver a solution or a service or a product that solves a problem, essentially. I mean, that's really what it comes down to with the business is you have to solve a specific problem for people. And I think that a lot of people forget about that when they try to start a business. They're not really solving any kind of problem at all. And they wonder why their business fails. And so I think that it totally translates. And, building the foundation of the business is all the same thing, an LLC and website and bank accounts, bookkeeping software, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. But I think the overall, the overarching theme here is you need to develop a solid value proposition. It doesn't matter what kind of business you start.
So what's yours with this platform that you built now? What's the value proposition?
Yeah. So with Pro Course Start, I teach professionals how to start a continuing education course business. So the value proposition essentially is stop exchanging your time for dollars and build a business that actually works for you. Like, you have knowledge in your head. So instead of your knowledge working through you, let it work for you instead.
What do you think if this platform would have been built when you were early in your career as a nurse practitioner? And you would have heard and seen this Justin guy built this, and he's breathing into you. Don't exchange your time for money, build wealth. The reason why I asked this, what would you have thought?
I think I would have probably listened to him. I mean, I remember looking for help, when I was probably 30, I'd say maybe about a year or two before I started my businesses. I looked for help online to start a business and I couldn't find it. I couldn't find help on starting a medical cannabis clinic or a men's health clinic. I couldn't even find help on starting a continuing education course business. So like, if I would have been able to find that earlier, I would have started earlier. No question.
Is it in your mind, if there's 350 million people in this country, I don't know the breakdown of how many are over 18 and can start a business and all this stuff. How many, we'll just take it 100% of the workers from 18 to 65 years old. How many of them do you think have this idea and desire in their mind that Justin was toiling with?
Well, I think the active workforce is about 180 million out of that. I think that's the latest number I remember. So, I mean, out of 180 million, I mean, I hate to say it, dude, but I think general human nature is for people to generally just follow and be a sheep. I mean, I hate to say that. And I think it's not the nicest thing to say, but it's just reality. I don't think most people are meant to be a leader or a business owner. So, I mean, out of that 180 million people, I would say probably 10%.
That's a lot of people. So that's 18 million people.
Yeah, that's still a lot of people.
That's your market people. That's who you're trying to reach, right?
No. I'm even narrowing it down even further than that. So with the elite nurse practitioner, the continuing education course business that made me a multimillionaire, my target demographic was 300,000 people. There's 300,000 nurse practitioners in this country. At the time I started, I think there's more now, like 350 or 380 or something. There was about 300,000 people, all right, that were nurse practitioners. I only targeted nurse practitioners. I only targeted nurse practitioners who want to start their practice. So out of 300,000 people, how many of them are actually interested in starting their own practice? I estimated probably about 10%. And then out of those, how many people actually became students? I built a multi-million-dollar business with having about 7,000 students total. So, I mean, I had something like 2% market share. That's it. And so with Pro Course Start, I'm targeting professionals. So, there's 2 million RNs. There's, 1 million physicians. There's 100,000 chiropractors. So, I mean, the target market is a lot bigger than 300,000. It's probably 5 million people, but out of that, 10% are, not even 10% are interested in starting a course business. I'd say maybe 2% of those people, still enough to build $1 million business.
Yeah. What's it look like? So someone has the idea and they're like, hey, listen, Justin says if he would have seen it, he would have gone all in with this. So they're like, maybe that's me. So what's it look like for them to then have this coursework? What's it look like in their profession to build it on your platform? What's that look like for somebody to go from this ideation? You're the guy back in the day. There wasn't any help for you. You couldn't find it. You're the help now, right?
Right. Yeah. So it's basically, yeah. So I will literally, I guide people step by step on how to start a continuing education course business all the way to the process of an exit event. So like I literally go from birth to death essentially of the business. You know what I mean? Like you start it and then you sell it and it's gone and it's someone else's now. So I literally go over every single step. I mean, the course I built is 15 hours long. It's literally every single possible thing I could think of starting a continuing education course business. So it's, I mean, I do mentorship as well. Where I strategize with people to help them come up with their idea, ensuring that the value proposition is strong, and then guide them through the entire process. So it's a lot easier than people think, and it's a business that's very scalable, and it doesn't require a lot of resources to get started. You can start a teen education course business for $10,000. I mean, you literally can. It's an easy business to start. It's completely automated. Your product sells 24/7. After the course is built and the business is built, it requires 10 hours a week of input on your part. Like that's it. It truly is a passive business.
Yeah. So then what's it look like for you? Are you paid a fee? Do you get equity in the business? Is there advisement that comes? What aspect, how involved are you? What are you selling? What's the platform look like? So what's that exchange?
Yeah. I mean, I've basically two options. You can either just buy the course, and it's literally it's an evergreen pre-recorded course. It's 15 hours long that guides you through the entire process. You take it and I'm not involved whatsoever. You can email me with questions anytime you want. I'm happy to hop on a 15-minute phone call or whatever to, give you my thoughts. So there's that. And then the other one is a more of an advanced mastermind, more of a high ticket mastermind mentorship sort of a thing where, we have a 12-week challenge where you go from not having a continuing education course business to having a CE business after 12 weeks. And then I'm right there with you answering your questions, Q&A calls, things like that. But I take no equity. I'm here to provide you the information. What you do with it is totally up to you. I'm not interested in taking equity from people or partnering with people unless they want, if they want to partner. I mean, I'm open to discuss it, but I'm simply just providing you the information and the knowledge and the motivation to do it.
So you're doing the same thing, that you're building the platform that others can build their business on.
Exactly, man. I'm providing the people the template to do it. Like I had no interest. You pay me the $1,000 or whatever it is for the course, and that's it. Like you literally just got a blueprint to build a 7 to 8 figure business. I could charge $5,000, $10,000 for that, but I made my money. I'm not into this to make money. Pay for the advertising, pay for my expenses, and I make a few bucks. That's my motivation now. That's it.
What feels good now? Because you made this money, right? You actually have a really good life.
Yeah. I mean, I do whatever I want, whenever I want.
Yeah, right. Where's the motivation to spend this time, to help others? Where's that come from? Like, what are you truly getting from it?
I get an immense sense of pride and just fulfillment by doing it. When I get an email from someone and they say, Justin, your course helped me build this business that's generating, $100,000 a month. You've completely changed my family's legacy, basically. What? I mean, if that doesn't make you feel good, you're a psychopath.
There might be a little psychopath in all of us.
Yeah.
Have you gone deep on all the people that you've helped build these businesses? Have you gone deep and thought about who ends up fulfilling the commitment they made to themselves to see the business work versus not? Have you thought about that at all?
Yeah. I mean, I thought about, having more of like setting up some sort of accountability or something, to maybe help motivate people. And that's kind of where that's where the mastermind kind of comes in instead, so like I can't motivate you if you just take the course and do nothing with it. That's on you. But if you're in my mastermind, I'm going to make sure you're at where you're supposed to be at by week 5 or whatever it is. And if you're not, it's just like, dude, what are you doing? Like you join, why are you not motivated to do this? And, yeah, but I mean, ultimately at the end of the day, it just comes down to, I mean, if you're not motivated to do it, I'm sorry. I don't know what else to do for you.
Yeah. Why buy the course, right?
Right. It blows my mind. Like with the Elite Nurse Practitioner, we help people start practices. That's what the courses were for. We help you start a men's health clinic, women's health clinic, weight loss practice, IV infusion clinic, whatever it was. And the completion rate of the courses was maybe 50%. It's like, why did you just drop $800 on a course and not even finish it? Like, it blows my mind. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you have interaction with them on the front end? Did you start predicting just to yourself like who you thought would fulfill it and who didn't? Because it's so mind numbing. You couldn't comprehend. Like, this is not normal thinking. You would think you're going to spend the $800. You're going to finish the coursework.
Think I think the reason why they don't finish it is I think it's just impulsivity. I think that people just like, oh, that sounds like a great idea. Okay, cool. I'm going to buy it. And then they just never follow through. It was just more of an impulsive decision. I think that's kind of the underlying reason. And then I think people just get scared. I think that when they see all the steps and they see the work necessary to go into it, they get fearful, they get overwhelmed, analysis paralysis hits them, overload paralysis hits them, and they just freeze. And that's when I'm happy to they'll email me or whatever. I'm like, let's hop on a quick 10, 15-minute phone call. And it's just like, listen, get out of your head, pull your head out of the sand here. Like you're your own worst enemy here. You're letting your thoughts get to you here.
Yeah.
I know your awareness, your presence, your consciousness wants to do this. Your brain's playing tricks on you right now. Get over it.
Have you seen, instead of asking the question, what businesses have you seen the platform serve the best? What industries? Is it better to say, have you seen or identified an industry or two or a segment that it doesn't work in? Have you seen that on building these courses?
On building a course business? I think that there isn't a segment that I know of that it doesn't work in, but there are segments where it's saturated. And so you have an uphill battle already to get started. So for example, nursing education is extremely saturated. So if you wanted to start a course business where you're teaching, nurses how to do something, it's pretty saturated. So you already have an uphill battle. And there's a few other markets that are fairly saturated as well. So I think that that's really going to be the determining factor if it just doesn't work or not. But if you can develop a value proposition that's a little bit different, you should be able to still, fit in there. But I don't know of an industry where it doesn't work. No.
Yeah. Do you have any idea where your continued path of being an entrepreneur will it continue beyond this? Do you have ideas of the next things you're going to do as well?
I think every entrepreneur always gets squirrel syndrome, right? We're always, looking for, oh crap, there's a squirrel over there. Let's, run towards it. You always, there's always these ideas that cross your mind. And it's just, I think I'm at a point in my life. I'm only 41, so it's not like I'm old. But, I'm at a point in my life where I have enough. I don't need any more money. So it's more or less, I'm going to start a business that's actually going to make me happy and bring me some passion. And so the next business that I'm thinking about opening up would be a sports performance center. I was thinking about a Sports Performance Institute of Colorado, where we basically do DEXA scans, stress testing on people, VO2 training, human growth hormone, sports performance enhancement, essentially sports testing. That would be something that would be, that would bring me into my people. Cause I work out a lot too. And so, I would do it mostly for networking and just enjoying people's company. I wouldn't really care if it made money or not. If it paid for itself, I'd be happy with it.
So are you about to do that?
Yeah, I'm toying with it.
Yeah. You wouldn't be talking about it if not. The problem is with you, I'd say, Justin, be careful, because once that mind gets going, you make it happen. You're that type of guy.
Yeah. It's a curse and a blessing, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What's the curse part about it?
Well, I think the curse part of it is that once it consumes your head, you just become obsessed with it, and it can really, it really starts affecting other parts of your life. You start giving up some of your family time, your personal time. You start giving up hobbies. You start, you sacrifice a lot for that. I had a mentor tell me years ago, he's like, you can have 2 or 3 things, pick 2, a business, family, and friends. Pick 2. You can't have all 3. And in a way, that's very true.
Have you consistently been trying to dispel that? Or have you seen no matter how hard you fight against it, it just happens?
I think, I think that when you're in the hustle phase, the real hustle phase of starting a business, and you're wanting to see it scale and grow, I think that that's very true. Now, if you just start a little side hustle or something and you keep it a side hustle, then I think all 3 are definitely a possibility. In my life right now, with money not being the objective and my businesses being more of a part-time passion instead of a full-time hustle, then all three is, it's definitely possible. But when you're in scale mode, I don't think all three is possible. I just don't, not if you want your business to succeed.
Yeah. It's tough to even have two then.
But honestly, right? I mean, that's why a lot of business owners get divorced.
Yep. Yeah. What would the 20, 22, 23-year-old Justin, what would he be proud of the 41-year-old Justin?
That he got out of poverty and he made something of himself. Like, I didn't come from nothing, dude. I grew up in a single wide trailer in East Tennessee. Dad was a drunk, so he was never around. So basically a single mom who worked at Lowe's. Like, there was times where we didn't have running water because couldn't afford the water bill. So I had to drive to my grandparents' house in high school to take a shower before school. And so I think that young, 20-something-year-old Justin would just be like, damn, he made it. He changed he changed his family's trajectory in life. The cycle's over now. He broke the cycle finally. That's just been the cycle of my family for, I don't know, 100, 200 years. I have no idea. And I finally broke it. So,
how'd you do it?
Working my ass off, man. Going to school, learning a trade that was in demand, becoming a nurse practitioner. I required a master's degree. I mean, I have 2 bachelor's degrees and a master's degree. So, I went to school for 8 years essentially, and I picked something that was in demand that paid well. And then I think that, I started a business because I knew that was the path to wealth.
Yeah. I go back about 20 minutes in the conversation when you said you capped out midway through the year on the income that you could make, and the rest of the year you were working for free. I'm assuming that's because you consistently work in these 12 and 16-hour shifts and taking every opportunity that came your way to work and make money.
100%, man. I mean, it was basically, it's production. So in medicine, it's how many patients you see, right? And so, I was in hustle mode, and I would just grab every chart I could, and I would just go in the patient's room, see every single patient I possibly could, do as many procedures as I possibly could to increase those billings. And so, I hustled really hard to do that. But then halfway through the year, when I'm not making a production bonus anymore, I just stopped giving a shit. And I remember the administrators coming up to me saying, Justin, your numbers have really decreased. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know. If you didn't cap my bonus, maybe it wouldn't have.
I think, so what can everyone who finds himself being an employee who wants more? Is it as simple as what you did about the sheer tenacity and hard work?
Yeah, I think that if you're truly sick and tired of working for someone else, I think that you just need to realize that no one's going to hand this to you. No one, not a single person's going to give this to you. No one's going to give you more time. No one's going to give you more money. You have to earn it yourself. And so the best way to do it is just to start a business. So you just need to get off your ass and get out there and figure out a problem that you can solve using your skill set and your knowledge, and just do it. Realize that no one else is going to do it for you. And being scared of it is, there's nothing to be scared of. You just got to do it. You got to take action. I mean, I'm sure people on this podcast say that all the time. You can have all the knowledge in the world, but if you don't take action over it, it doesn't mean anything. And I think that's so true. I remember the day I started my very first business. I was working at an urgent care. I remember sitting in front of my computer screen on LegalZoom, getting ready to spend $800 on the LLC or whatever. I mean, now I know LegalZoom's a total ripoff.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
You pretty much do it for free. The file.
Right. You pretty much, right. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. You do it for free now. So but I didn't know any better. Right. And so I remember sitting there, I put the name in, and I remember just putting my credit card information in, and then just being like, thinking about that submit button. You know what I mean? I was just like, all the thoughts crossed my mind, dude. You shouldn't be doing this. You can just pick up extra shifts, blah, 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 blah. My brain's trying to play tricks on me. And I was just like, F it. I just clicked it. And then that was basically the action that I had to take to do it. And then the second action was signing that lease for that medical office. That was the big one. Right. And so I think you have to put yourself in the situations where you're forced to make a decision. You have to put yourself in a situation where you're forced to make an action, either yes or no, check or no check. If you never put yourself in those situations, then you're never going to have the opportunity. So you have to at least put yourself in that situation. If it's as simple as getting on a website to form an LLC, that's better than nothing.
Yeah. Signing the lease is a little bit more of a commitment though. That's a different day.
That's a different day. Yeah. I remember it was like $1,000 a month or $700 a month or whatever it was. And it was like 12 months. I'm like, I'm on the hook for $8,000 here if this doesn't work. And I was like, well, what's the worst going to happen?
Yeah, worst is going to happen. You don't put enough in. You don't force it to happen. You don't have the mindset that I'm not going to fail, and then you just pay it for 12 months. You weren't going to go broke.
All right. I wasn't going to go broke. I could just picked up an extra ER shift to pay the rent. You know what I mean? It wasn't a big deal.
Yeah. Since you talked about it, when you think about those East Tennessee days, there's still a ton of poverty in that area. It's East Tennessee, it's southeastern Kentucky, it's that part of West Virginia, North Carolina. That's one of the poverty-stricken places in this country still. There's just not a lot of there's not a lot of business happening, right? Not a lot of jobs, not a lot of education. What do you think about all the people that are still there? You probably have some family members of people that you grew up with. What do you think about that? I think about where I came from. What do you think?
I think they're stuck in a bubble that they think this is the world. This is life. And they don't know anything is better out there. And it comes to everything in their life. Like, don't get me wrong. I miss Tennessee. I love living in Tennessee, Western North Carolina. I mean, I grew up I lived in Asheville, North Carolina for a while, and Knoxville and all that area, and, and some smaller towns in the mountains. And those people are in such a bubble when it comes to everything: religion, politics, business, finances. Like, they are just in a bubble and they refuse to get out of that bubble. I don't know what it is. If it's a comfort thing, or, I honestly, I don't know what it is, but many people in that area just are too scared to look outside of that area. I mean, I remember people in high school who never even left the county. It just blows my mind, so it's a very isolated place. A lot of places in this country are, but that area specifically is very, very isolated.
What do you think could happen? Not that it's on you or your responsibility. There's tons of people that come from there and step out and do what you're doing. But so they haven't put themselves in a position where they're willing to click the mouse, right? Or the credit card's in where they're going to click the mouse. What could happen where they understand that that's a possibility and an opportunity for them? What needs to happen? What could happen? Is it a national thing? Is it a local thing? Is it individual leaders?
Yeah, I think it's a local thing for sure. I don't know if it's their pastor or if it's the mayor or whoever, I think that these people need to be shown that there is more to life than, this little small county in East Tennessee, West North Carolina. Like, they just need to be shown that, and they need to be shown that their way of thinking isn't necessarily the right way of thinking. And, how do you do that? I don't know, man. It's when it comes to human nature, how do you change human nature? I think that there's a reason why most of this world is still stuck in second, third world thinking. I just think it's just human nature. I think that just, there's a subset of people who were meant to be the nobles, and most people were just meant to be the serfs. I think that's just how we evolved.
But you broke out of it. And the folks that do, what was the catalyst?
I think that a lot of it, I've thought about that. I've thought about, did God just give me this ambition? Like, where did this come from? Cause no one else in my family has this. Nobody does. Like, why am I different? And I think that a lot of it probably just comes down to, what were you exposed to as a child? And I remember watching shows on like Nickelodeon, and for some reason I was just attracted to like the business owner in the cartoon or something, yeah, I don't know if that answers the question or not, but
yeah, because I guess to try to figure it out is to say that could be the catalyst for helping. Yeah. Right. If it could be identified that this was the structure, this was the experience, not even just reflective on us, like, okay, there's the unlock. Then can we show that unlock to others?
Okay. So I think you hit a nail on the head then. I think that at a very young age, people in these areas in like elementary school or whatever need to be shown that there is more to life than just this little tiny town. And I think that you just do that through, it could just be something as simple as videos of other places, people telling their stories. And maybe it's the spark that's needed for maybe just a couple people. I think there's some people that just have that natural leadership, that natural nomad inside of them. And it just requires some kind of trigger to get that out of them. And I think that a lot of them are never exposed to that trigger. And those are the people that live their life as, how everyone tells them they should. And those are probably those people who are just always unhappy, not content, and they just, and they don't know why.
Maybe it's the compilations of guys like you that actually came from there telling your story and showing it.
Yeah, I thought about that. And it's interesting. I mean, through the Elite Nurse Practitioner, I tell my story a lot. And there's people from East Tennessee and stuff that message me all the time. I'm like, dude, I saw that you did it and I did it, So,
see, so there's something there.
There's something there. Yeah.
So we've talked about a lot here, man, but what's the message you want to send to all these folks? We've talked about entrepreneurship, where we've come from, ideology, what happens when you leave that job and you start the business. You shouldn't be scared and you shouldn't be fearful, but what's your message from you being the entrepreneur, running your business and platform? What's the message to your customers, your future customers, and even your the marketing pitch that Justin has for us?
I don't really like marketing pitches, but basically I think that every single person has some kind of knowledge, experience, skills that other people are going to find valuable. And I think that what you need to do is you need to just sit down one day and just list out the 10 things that you think you're good at, the 10 things that like the back of your hand, and figure out, can I use that knowledge and monetize it and turn it into a business? Because most people never monetize their knowledge outside of just using it, not letting their actual knowledge work for them. And by that, I mean putting your knowledge on PowerPoint slides, on paper, on a video, and actually selling the knowledge versus using that knowledge to do what it is that you're teaching. So for example, using your knowledge to program something, if you're a programmer or something. So instead of using your knowledge to program an app, why don't you actually just now teach that knowledge? Just instead of teach the programming language instead. And I think that there's a lot of money in that. And a lot of people are moving away from universities and colleges, and they're looking for actual actionable real world knowledge. And it's applicable to really anything. I mean, there's an electrician that took my course who started a course business teaching electricians about whatever he teaches, So you could be a blue collar worker, or it can be all the way to a neurosurgeon. Like, there's going to be people who want your knowledge and who will pay for it. So just keep that in mind as a business idea, because it's a viable business idea. I know people who make a lot of money in course businesses.
So good, man. We'll tag the pro course stuff and all your socials and everything. What's the one place you want them to come see everything about you? Is it a website? Is it a social media platform? Is it LinkedIn? Where's the one place they go?
Yeah. Just procoursestart.com. I'll make a little podcast page for this. So we'll call it procoursestart.com/podcast/necessary. Yeah. They can just land on that. Put a little coupon code on there if they're interested in it. And you can just email me. Honestly, the best way to contact me is just to email me. Just Justin@procoursestart.com. Like Justin@procoursestart.com. You can send me a message or whatever through Instagram, but just shoot me an email. I think they're just a lot more personal. I can actually respond to it a little bit better. So I don't have LinkedIn, man. Those people just keep trying to make me verify my ID, and I've just given up.
You're like, I don't want to be part of it. I want to be hidden. Hey, thanks for sharing the story, man, and the transparency about, where you came from, this journey, all through finding success as first an employee, and then having the guts to go out here and start the business and change your life. So.
No, you're welcome, man. I appreciate having me on here.